It's still the Monday morning conversation on Rise and Shine, and we're beaming live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa State, Nigeria. We want to look into the local government elections that held on October 5 in Akwa State and Rivers State. So we have, joining us here this morning live on set, Barrister Clifford Thomas, who is actually, a rights activist. Now, because of the conversation we're going to have this morning, we are going to, take that particular designation as rights activist this morning. There's a lot of things he might be activating with regards to the elections in Akwa State. Good morning, Barrister Clifford. Good to have you on the show.
Well, good morning, Uya. It's nice to be here today. Good morning, Francis. Good morning, viewers out there. I want to congratulate all of you for having survived the elections.
Survived the elections?
Yes, we survived the elections of October 5th of 2024.
Right.
And we must also congratulate ourselves for not being like our sister state, Rivers State. Akwa was very peaceful. The elections at Akwa Human Rights Community, we worked out.
Wow. Okay. So, still talking about the communities that went out. We also have the crime director, Center for Human Rights Accountability Network, Otwekon Franklin, joining us virtually from Uyo this morning. Good morning, Director Otwekon. Good to have you on Rise and Shine. So that we can know whether or not we're really peaceful.
Good to have you. Good morning, comrade.
Good morning. Good to have you on Rise and Shine. Okay, we have him there in a moment. I'm sure that network will free. We also have Ugochukwu Oputa, who is a political commentator and public affairs analyst, joining us from Rivers State this morning. Good morning, Mr. Oputa. Good to have you on Rise and Shine.
Good morning, Nigerians. Glad to be here.
Good morning. So we already have our in-house guest trying to throw a jab, saying that Akwa Ibom October 5 elections was not like our sister state. So whether you're going to be able to defend Rivers State or debunk some of the things that will be raised on the show this morning, we are glad to have you, Oputa, on the show this morning. But I know Oputa is pressed for time. Let's quickly just talk to you, about Rivers State election. A lot of things have happened. Is it the hold of Nyesom Wike as your former governor, or Simila Efubara fighting tooth and nail for the life of his office as the governor? A lot of persons have commended that he went ahead to actually make sure that the elections held on October 5, while some other persons say he should have let it go. Holistically, what are your thoughts before we come to the other dynamics that played out during the local government elections?
Okay, thank you very much. What happened in Rivers State over the weekend was something you can liken to the defense of democracy. Because if the other option had taken place, probably would have set a precedent, a very dangerous precedent, that is not much different from the June 12th Saturday of our democracy. What you saw there was people trying to use the instrumentality of the state, of federal power, to make a blockade, to pose a threat to democracy at where it's needed most, the grassroots, the local government. It is unheard of that a court, a judge, would stop an election. Because of the sad incident of June 12th, where that happened, it is very clear the only people that have the ability to stop an election is the electoral empire. And you find out that people were trying to do that, and the governor tried his best to ensure that Rivers State would not be used to set that precedent. The governor has also done that earlier on when you saw that the other House of Assembly members were trying to illegally extend the tenure of local government chairmen that were elected to serve just 3 years. You see, this precedence is dangerous in democracy, because when it happens, people can rely on it to take further action. What happened in Rivers State was beautiful. People came out, even though the Inspector General of Police made a declaration that the people should come out for their lawful business, trying to counter the governor's restriction of movement order. But people stayed at home, came out only to vote within their clusters, unit clusters and all. You saw the turnout was massive. In fact, I was very surprised, because most people would exhibit fear, but no, the turnout was massive. People were early at their unit because they knew that this was the Rivers people, the governor, as against the instrumentality of the federal government. People came out because they felt the personal need, the personal decision to uphold the sanctity of democratic processes. And after that, you can see that the governor swore them in. It's also interesting that I put it out here that when these persons were, some of the persons were acting in an acting capacity, the police locked up the council gate for almost 3 months. If not that some of these chairmen had to improvise and work from somewhere, local government would have been dead for that long time.
They have been opened up as of this morning.
Yes, as of this morning, it has been opened. In fact, as I speak to you, some of the chairmen, the mayor of Port Harcourt, chairman for Port Harcourt City Local Government, is swearing in the councillors. It is going. Governance is beginning earnestly. So imagine if we had succumbed. Imagine if the governor had succumbed to the razzmatazz by these charlatans who try to pose themselves as anti-democratic agents. Where would we have been? As we speak, it would have reached, the governor would have reached the local government not having allocations accrued to them, because the 90 days lifespan given by the presidency for the implementation of the local government autonomy would have elapsed. So in Rivers State, what we had was beautiful. I am happy that you go around social media, and the conversation leading the trails in the nation as of this morning and since yesterday is that Governor Sim Fubara has been able to stamp his feet, put his life on the line, and ensure that democracy was defended, ensure that democracy follows its due course. And that is the narrative that should be applauded out there. Rivers State is moving, the elections went well. You saw in some local government, some wards, some other party won, Boots Party, APC won, Labour Party, you saw some wards.
So it was quite holistic.
So and also in the, yes.
So the question now will be, because I like what you're talking, you're talking about the fact there was a reflection of different parties in winning the election. But who is APP, the All People's, Party? Who is APP? I think that's the question Nigerians are asking. They seem to have swept, most of the seats in the local government election. What does this mean for a PDP-led government in Rivers State?
Well, you know that politics is dynamic. In Rivers State, we saw a shocker in 2023 when the PDP swept the Guba election and the APC swept the presidential election. And on same polling unit, the APC was winning the presidential election while the PDP won the parliamentary House of Rep and Senate. Rivers State had gone into a dynamic system since that 2023. What APP, as I know in all sincerity, most of the persons that were strong supporters, some of the persons that served as caretaker committee members appointed by the governor, decided to take their destiny in their hands and defect to the APP. Most of them became members of the APP. And you see some of these people have enjoyed massive support. And this is a lesson for our political parties, because when you ignore powerful, grassrooted, and well-to-do politicians that have direct connection to the grassroots, when you ignore them, you create a lacuna for other people to buy them over, take them over, and that is PDP lost out. And this internal fighting, you can see in the Rivers State, the structure of the PDP is being battled between the governor and the former minister, the former governor who is the minister. Akwa Ibom State is a clear example. You have the current governor and the immediate past governor. I've heard the immediate past governor refer to the current governor as the leader of the party. But in Rivers State, a governor that has served as 8 years, 2 terms, is still assuming himself as leader. Worst of all is that he is an appointee under an APC government. If you have watched keenly, you will see that APC and PDP are doing simultaneous protests in Rivers State. This is to tell you that there is some kind of unhealthy bonding between these two parties. And you cannot tell me your intentions is good for the PDP while you are deliberately crippling the PDP in the state.
All right.
But the PDP at the national level gave a letter on the eve of the election, urging PDP faithfuls to come out en masse for the election. The BOT chairman of PDP and the chairman PDP Governors Forum were there in Government House yesterday for the inauguration of the local government chairman. So if there's one thing the PDP is proud at the national level, is that they have a governor that prefers to uphold democracy, even though his party lost out. But he has gone ahead to ensure that they sworn. I lost my unit to the APP. As a PDP member, we are sad. But then democracy must go on.
Democracy must go on. The people are the most important elements.
It's an interesting thing happening in Rivers State, but I'd like to hear what Barrister has to say. I mean, he has clearly stated that the people of Rivers State are excited about, you know, the dynamics, regardless of the fact that a completely different party is getting the grassroots and taking hold of the people.
Well, Oputa, thank you very much for your report, because that report is very consoling. In view of the fact that we had several information. You were in the field, you saw what happened, and you are reported back to the whole world. So we thank you and we congratulate the good people of Rivers State. Now, I expect that if elections are truly democratic, the individuals on the platform of whatever parties should have galvanized support from across board. So APP won because APP was on ground. It doesn't matter whether it's PDP, APC, or whatever, but the real people who were grassroots went out and won. So the coloration of the parties that won helps us so much. So we want to, though in Rivers, we got a field report on Saturday that the IG has withdrawn its men, and it's just the People's Army that actually went out to police the election. The people, power actually belongs to the people. Rivers people showed us that it's not mandatory you need the Nigerian police. Once you have the people's police, they can police any institution. It's just that this issue of having strong men against strong institutions have weakened those institutions to a point where anybody can use the institutions to do anything they want. So we congratulate Rivers. But for Akwa Ibom, we will come to that.
We'll definitely come to that. But let me quickly go to the director of CRAN, because just a few days before the elections in Akwa Ibom, they, in collaboration with Akisieg, had, you know, a stakeholders meeting. Yes, I mean, calling for peace, free and fair elections, and all of that. On the heel of that, Mr. Tweko, I'm going to ask, what's your evaluation of the Akwa Ibom state elections? Would you say, you know, local government election, would you say it was peaceful? Noting that the places like Ibom, for instance, the Akisieg facility, yes, was burned down. It was touched. However, it was touched and the materials for the elections were spared, but it was touched. So holistically, give us your overview concerning the elections, Otuekon Franklin.
Well, I think first, before I touch on the Akwa Ibom election, let me also touch on the Rivers State election, because both were held the same day. I am happy that the people of Rivers State, like Oputa said, and in collaboration with my colleague, Comrade Clifford Thomas, have also re-echoed that election, you don't need, there is no law that says that you must have Nigerian police to police election. In fact, it is even an aberration to have a police society like what we had in Edo State and other states. When you have elections being conducted, after election, you will see that the entire state will be policed, will be, you know, filled with military men and the rest. That even puts fear in the minds of the voters. The Constitution, Section 214, my colleague is there, Clifford Thomas, he could echo, he could confirm it. You know, it's very clear that the police ought to be in every place to ensure that they protect law and they protect the society and prevent crime. It was wrong for the police IG to have withdrawn his men from the scene, from the election that took place in Rivers State. I have said this in a sister program that the IG seemed to have taken side. You don't have to take the Nigerian police force that is being paid with taxpayers' money to throw it into the political waters of Rivers State. It was very wrong for the IG to have taken side. You cannot cite the order that was issued by a federal high court in Abuja, whereas a state high court had issued an order. And can election be stopped by a court? my colleague is there, Comrade Clifford, he will tell you that the answer is no. The law is very clear that no court can stop election from holding. And the Rivers State High Court had issued an order that in line with the Supreme Court judgment that elections, should take place. And of course, Section 7 of our Constitution is very clear that those who should man local government system should be those who are elected. So these same persons who went to the Federal High Court Abuja to obtain an order had protested when the governor sworn in people who are caretaker. And they are the ones saying election should not hold. What then did they expect? What then did they want the government to do? Government must run. So I applaud the governor of the state for taking the bull by the horn and ensuring that election took place with or without the presence of Nigerian policemen. This has even opened our eyes to a new conversation that you don't even need policemen from what we have seen to carry out a successful election in the state. Now back to Akwa Ibom. On the 30th of September, the Center for Human Rights and had a stakeholders engagement in collaboration with AKISEC, that is the Akwa Ibom State Independent Electoral Commission, and with the security agencies, with the other CSOs and stakeholders. We sat and we brainstormed. What we are discussing, we are saying that we don't want a violence election. We want a violence-free election. We want election that is seamlessly conducted. We also extracted a commitment from AKISEC that they will be neutral, that they will be free, fair, and orderly in their approach to giving us elections. So what we expected as CSO is the process being free and fair to all. So this was done. AKISEC assured us that they will be neutral. The political parties will agree that they will be orderly, mannered in the way they go about their campaigns. The security agencies, in that case, the CP who was present there, also made a commitment, and other stakeholders committed themselves to ensure that we have, a violence-free election. What happened in Ibom? We are still trying to get the actual report from the security agencies. But from the feelers that we got was that some hoodlums invaded the AKISEC office 24 hours to the election and demanded to see the materials that were sensitive. And those people said you cannot, it is very wrong for you to invade a day before and demand to see. And this person, from the report we gathered from our men who went to the field in that area, they said that the AKISEC officers were beaten, they were manhandled and harassed, and materials were carted away, some were even burnt. I mean, this is completely, is unheard of. It is scared that people could, resort to certain of, barbaric manner in a democratic society where people would have been expected to go out and vote those you want. So I think that was a very bad impression that was created in Ibom. Not only in Ibom, where a similar fracas in Ini, although it didn't resort to a kind of a large-scale violence. But on the whole, I think that the one that happened in Ibom was wrong, was unheard of and undemocratic. I want to say that we need peace. Elections in local government system have always been winner takes it all. The reason is that over the years, local government system has been tied to the airport of state government. But the president of Nigeria today, through the Attorney General, had gone to court, to Supreme Court, and sought for autonomy, which now has been given. And you can now see those who are in the cabinet of the state government resigning to go and contest to become local government chairman. That gives you a sign that we are into a new era. So moving forward, we want to see a system where other parties will also win. Of course, in Akwa Ibom State, we had, I think, APC won in a set of the local government area. The rest local government area had been won by the PDP. And we want to see that going forward, most parties should also come up. What I saw before the election was that the campaigns by other parties were low. Other parties had that low spirit. They felt that, they felt it was going to be, a one-way, a carry-go exercise. So there was no need to come out to even, spend their resources to campaign and begin to, galvanize for vote.
Okay.
But we think that there is need for the parties to be involved in the exercise that will lead to elections that will elect people who are local government areas.
Okay, let's come to you, Barrister Clifford. Two things that Otwecom has established, and I saw you nodding in agreement.
Yes.
One is the fact that we didn't have all the political parties, really take serious campaigning during this election. And then I have an issue with a Synodom scenario where we've seen video footages where the returning officer in the Synodom announced a winner and a loser, and then coming to the state level, the RTCA chairman, Ikoy, will announce a different personality, and that has generated a lot of conversation. I'd like to take your reaction to that.
Well, let me start with the mistake we just repeated. In Akwa Ibom, we repeated the mistake of 1999 when the military was leaving, going back to the barracks. They came up with the 1999 constitution, announced the transition timetable, and said, we mean it, we are serious. We are not taking over power again. We need civilians to take over power. And civilians didn't trust the military. So they said there was voter apathy. They were so low, they didn't want to be part of it. And that's the mistake we just did on Saturday. Governor Moino, from our civil society, we have held him, we have taxed him, and he gave us his word that he was not going to interfere with local government elections. He opened up his doors and said he needs other persons to come in. Now, a lot of people still don't trust him because they feel anywhere you see PDP is carry go. So they went for elections. They did not contest. A lot of them did not campaign. That's why I agreed with my colleague. We went to the field. We were in the field. We saw a lot of things. So for you not to have campaigned, for you to have shown so much fatalism in this whole thing, and then you allowed, in fact, some of them, you'll be shocked. They were busy drinking beer.
Okay. How is this even going to come back and affect the polity of the state?
Let me explain this. They were busy fraternizing with persons from other parties. They did not campaign. Their campaign was slow. They did not campaign. And then on election day, you just felt, oh, let's go. Whatever thing they have, they will give to us. So there was so much fraternity during the elections. From where we went to that was what we saw. So you were asking about what...
How is this going to affect the polity? Like when we continue to see other parties just say, okay, with the ruling party, we take it on. Because it's not happening only in Akwa Ibom. We've seen it across different local government elections.
It has become a cultural practice in Nigeria. That because these people have always carried the elections by whatever means. If we go again, we'll be wasting our resources. We don't have time for all of this. Whatever thing they give us, we will take. So they have gone for settlement politics. Fayose said that politics was stomach infrastructure. That's what they are looking at right now. So the effect is that in the next 3 years that these people will be on board, they would have entrenched themselves. Even though we notice that some of them might be mediocres, some of them may not understand the full purport and the essence of governance at that level. Governing at the state level is different from governing at the local government level. At the local government level, all the witches in that local government, the monies that come belong to them. The armed robbers, the kidnappers, the orphans, the widows, even those who are working. If you tamper with that money, they will cost you, and the cost will go with you. But at the state level, it's more of an executive thing. That's what we have noticed in the field. So it's going to entrench them, and their cohorts and their surrogates. There will be syndicracy, a government of syndicates and by syndicates.
At the local government
level. At the local government level. Until something serious is done. And one of those things serious that should be done will be what Otwecom said. Local government elections has always been the winners take it all. No, it should stop. There should even be age for retirement. We should even be able to set a standard beyond what the law looks at. Have you been employed before? Have you employed people before? Have you been involved in social work to help communities not prior to elections? Have you done that years before elections? So we must look at the quality and capacity of persons who come into governance. That's what we should be concerned about. Because at that level, you notice that what you have done before successfully, you will do again. And you are going to meet with the people. You must live with the people. you must do everything with the people. Not when somebody lives in a wet house in Osheta Africa or Solomon Estate and governs its local government. In fact, there should be local government laws passed by the councillors that as council chairman or officials, elected officials, if you don't live in your constituency, you should be removed, you should be withdrawn.
Okay, that takes us to the conversation that His Excellency Governor Pastor Moino had when he came on board. Remember the executive bill that he sent, which of course we later found out there has already been a law in existence that stipulates that local government officials should reside within the local government.
Yes.
Now, do you think with the crop of politicians we have, where it seems once anybody gets into, from the local government chairman, Uyo becomes the epic center where everybody gets houses in the highbrow areas and the local government suffers. Looking at the fact that funds is going to the local government, do you see the possibility of the Akwa Ibom state government, in partnership with the State House of Assembly, being able to implement that particular law to ensure that these people stay at the grassroots?
Well, if you say in partnership with the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, I am beginning to have cold feet about the House of Assembly passing laws that don't work. They don't implement. The anti-open grazing law that was passed till today, we still find cows. We have more cows than human beings on some streets in New York. They still invade farms and all of that. So let the governor do it with the people. Okay. If the governor tells the people, any local government chairman or councillor that is not living in this place, you can just report him and chase him out from that place. It's not against the law. It's not breaking the law. We are implementing the law. We have all become, look at what Rivers has done. Everybody has become a policeman. So, and the law says that you can even arrest a policeman. The law also says that you can search a policeman before he searches you. Before he enters your house to search him. That's what the law says. So we have now become policemen. So we can implement and ensure that all elected local government officials live in their local government. If you live outside that house, we should let the governor know.
Absolutely.
And then ensure that you don't stay in the council if you live outside the council.
Absolutely. So still talking on the lane of law before we go to Mr. Tuekong. We know that the 1999 Constitution does not spell out what the tenure of this elected local government chairman and the councillor should be. It's left to the prerogative of the state, as it were, which still gives, which still empowers the state governors in some way over this local government, chairman and councillors. So, in Akwa Ibom State, for instance, what is the tenure selected for them? And I want to target two questions to you as a lawyer. Then, going back to Rivers State issue. Why is the judiciary allowing itself to be used to overlap its own laws? Because we know that, the jury, as it were, they understand that if they know the protocol of the law. Why is it that, the court in Rivers State had already given an injunction, but yet a federal high court sitting in Abuja still went ahead to do the same?
The court in Rivers State and the federal high court, that's the state high court, and this is the federal high court, they have what we call coordinate jurisdiction. Okay. And when they give conflicting decisions on a matter that is on all fours, with similar facts, there's what we call stating the case. You take these two conflicting judgments to the Court of Appeal, but there's no time for that. So what the Rivers State governor did, and the government and people of Rivers did, was in the eyes of democracy the best option. Now, the court did not allow itself to be used. Each court decides a matter based on the preponderance of evidence and exhibits you present before the court. If the court looks at it and believes party A more than party B, it gives judgment for party A. If the other court looks at it, in fact, it was an abuse of court process to have gotten judgments from a court and for the other party who was a party in this matter to have gone to court of similar, the best of corresponding power. The best could have done in circumstances would have been to go on appeal, to appeal that judgment, because the Court of Appeal is a step higher than the Federal High Court and the State High Court. In fact, in Nigeria we have about 6 high courts, 6 strands of high court. We have the State High Court, you have the National Industrial Court, you have the Federal High Court, you have the tax cut, you have about 6 of them. This is not where we come to do that education now. But for the people of Rivers State, they did well by ensuring that this is what we want. Democracy is not for institutions. Democracy is for the people. Right. It's the people that create institutions that they put in the constitution. So second question.
Yeah, now so talking about the tenure.
The tenure.
Yeah.
Tenure, there's been a lot of debate about tenure. It's expected that if you do 8 years as governor, you should run elections in local government twice. It's not a constitutional matter. The conventional thing has been that you give the local government 3 years tenure. That's been the conventional thing. But there was an argument that they should run for 4 years. If they run for 4 years, the governors will do just one election because the governors came in first. So the governors are running the local government election in their 5th year, in their 2nd year, and that means they will do it again in their 6th year, and then after they had left office, they won't be able to do it. So I think it's a selfish thing. Okay. It's a selfish thing, and it's good we're making our mistakes. Like the 1999 Constitution, to me, I don't believe it should be amended. I believe it should be scrapped up. We have the people's, we should have a Congress of the people, an interest, where we meet together and give to ourselves a brand new constitution, where we say, we the people have given to ourselves a brand new constitution. All these errors, we could have done these mistakes during the period of the military, but the military denied us the opportunity of making our mistakes and correcting those mistakes. That's why we're finding ourselves doing those mistakes now, late in life. Nigeria is 64 with Pampers.
Well, okay, serious issues. She's going to old age, but yes, she can't still, actualize certain things. Mr. Tuekong, let's come to you. And the conversation now is still looking at, the local government elections as it were, as it happened October 5. There's some articles that, we've read this morning that says, Governor Umoino did well for not embarrassing the Senate president, for giving him at least, one stool of the local governments. Now, so it now looks like the governor handed it down. There was some, hanky-panky play to make sure that he won only, underground negotiations to make sure that he carted away with just a Sienudum. Please talk about that for a moment. And it looks like a favor that was done the Senate president, who that is his federal constituency.
Well, if the question is for me, because I didn't hear the beginning, let me just start by saying, going to the first comment I made, which Barrister Clifford had echoed, I want to tell you that the other parties were not actively involving in campaigns. I said this in my opening remarks. I want to also bring to your notice that a political party was in court challenging the notice that was published by Akisiek, that the time was short. Until the day of election, the party was still in court, and the party never made any attempt to go to the field to campaign. I had a long telephone conversation with a friend of mine who is a top politician, a top chieftain of a political party. He was calling me from Abuja, and he was telling me that the crown engagement that we did with Akisiek and the rest was a jamboree, that elections will not hold. He was even telling me that the government has not funded Akisiek, that what the crown did was a waste of time. And I told him that as long as we are concerned that elections will hold, that if the date is shifted, we will go to court to challenge the shift of the date of elections. That it will hold, and that anybody that will hold office after the 5th of October would meet us in court, because the person has to be elected by the people of the state based on what Section 7 of our Constitution says. So the other parties were busy, throwing up rumors. We are busy, trying to dissuade the minds of people that elections will not hold. And after all, even when a party came to launch their campaign at Akwa, one of the party chieftain of another party told me that what those other parties that launched their campaign at Akwa had was a show of force. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. That nothing will happen afterwards. That the party may not contest and win any of the seats. So you could see people have resigned their faith already, expecting that nothing will come out of it. That is to add to the fact that the other parties didn't take the elections serious. The campaigns and the lobbying, they didn't do it. They were expecting the party in government will take all, will win all, as has always been the case. Second question I want to also add here is that, of course, there is a law that all the council officials, the chairman in particular, has to reside in their local government headquarters. That was why during the government of Ibom, Gospel Akpabio, he built security villages across the local government councils for the chairman to live and reside in the local government areas. I add my voice to what Brother Clifford has said, that if any chairman refuses to live in the local government council, that chairman should be, the people of the council, the people of the area should look for him. They should call him out. We want to know why they are not living in the area of their appointment. They have been employed by the people to work for them at the local government area, so they have to live there. I had a chairman in my local government area, I think some years ago, that the moment you have their locations, he takes the monies and travel abroad. And we post him pictures at the swimming pool, where he's at the swimming pool, where he's at the shopping mall. And when we started calling him out, the excuse he gave to us was that he was trying to shop for foreign investors. Imagine a chairman traveling, leaving his local government areas to go abroad, go to Dubai, spend the resources of the state, of the local government. And we are calling him out. Throughout this tenure, he never brought one foreign industry. That is another point. So we must check this. And I want to assure them that most of them will be cooling their feet in the ESCC custody, because we are out for them. Autonomy that has been gotten for them is not opportunity for them to embezzle the local government funds. We will be calling them out. We will track the money. As soon as the money drops from the federal account, we will track the money and see what they are doing with it and hold them accountable to make sure that the monies are used for the sake of the people of the local government area. The tenure of the council chairman are 3 years as spelled out in the laws. But then, like my colleague there has said, there is need for a review to make it to become 4 years. Now, back to the question you asked me, which is the one of the the local government area where you have the APC winning. I wouldn't know the undercurrent. I wouldn't know what happened, but I saw the Senate President voting. I saw his wife voting. I think I have observed a lot of campaigns in the Senate, and it would have been very shameful and very bad that he will lose his polling unit, he will lose his ward, he will lose his local government area. So I think that he, as a person, had intensified campaigns, because what will he be saying in the Senate? What will he have been saying to the president? Is it that he is not on ground at the polling unit? How did he emerge to become the Senate president if he didn't win his polling unit, his ward and local government? So what has happened in the Senate, for me, in my own assessment, I think it is a result of a hard work that he has put in place to show that he won. Otherwise, it would have been a complete aberration that he won as a senator, and then he lost he lost the local government pool. So for me, I don't want to join the pool of speculators to say there was any undercurrent. I believe that the result was based on the hard work that has been put in place by the Senate President and his party.
And the conversation for the purpose of this morning is talking about the expectation toward autonomy, because now fresh guys, fresh money, fresh energy. What should we be looking
fresh
at?
Inmates to prisons.
Yeah, so
we are going to send a lot of them to prison.
How do we intend to do that? Because just like Otuekong has said, we need to put down a strict rules for what do we call it now? I agree with Otuekong, my friend and brother. Unfortunately, that local government chairman he referred to was a journalist. Otuekong, if I am wrong, you tell me. He was a journalist, and all he could do was go round. He could do was go around Dubai, US. You know, when you bring poor people into governance, they use that opportunity to steal public funds to give themselves the kind of lives they've never had before. So, as a way forward, I agree with him. Let our people rise up. Number one, ask questions. We must monitor in collaboration with the CSOs in this state
active CSOs, not briefcase CSOs, monitor how much comes into our state. What is your plan to my local government? What is your plan for that allocation? We will constitute a monitoring and evaluation apparatus to enable us follow up with that. And any chairman that is not ready to sit down with the people to talk, we will take it, we will call him out. Then for the councillors, if you don't put a law in place, you don't go and debate and work as executive and as the legislative, I don't know how they want to do it, whether it's going to be modified parliamentary system or just strict presidential system. You must ensure that you work. You are not elected there as compensation. You are not a cripple. You are elected there as a full-bodied person who has to contribute to the welfare, the well-being, the security of my local government, people in my local government. You must be able to look at what the law says, the residual list. What are the functions of local government? How many of them even know? You'll be shocked that a lot of them don't have constitution, the constitution of Nigeria. You'll be surprised that a lot of them have never even seen the document called the Akisiek Establishment Law. A lot of them are not educated enough to know what civil engagement means. So I commend my brother, Franklin's son, that we are going to galvanize the entire civil society to pursue this purpose. But for what happened on Saturday, we have agreed. There was like a decided attitude by a lot of other parties. They even mentioned that a party went to Ikot to flag off campaign, and the other party said there won't be elections. Even his friend, according to him, who stays in Abuja, called him and said, it's a shenanigan, there won't be elections. But the Senate president was wise and smart enough to come to his local government. He supported and caused campaigns to be done. And if he won it, somebody coming out to say, no, it was on that table current and all of that, you deceived yourself. Were elections held in Akwa Ibom?
Yeah.
There may have been one or two isolated cases of misunderstanding, fracas, or fight here and there. That did not totally obliterate the legality and the legacy of the election. So we want to commend and congratulate ourselves that by today, which is the 7th day of October, the governor, like Fubara did yesterday, will swear elected council officials in. And that is when they have the right to touch our money. If, my brother said, if there had not been elections and sworn in today, for them to effectively go into council, we would have also gone to the field. Different
conversation altogether. But I must say a quick thank you to Director Twekon Franklin for coming on the show this morning. Of course, bringing us an up-to-date response on what happened on the field. Thank you so much for your contribution to the quality of elections that we had in Akwa Ibom State. Thank you for your time. Of course, in studio here, of course, we also had Barrister Clifford Thomas, who himself is a right activist. That is how you've seen all the rights that he activated this morning. But of course, we are here as a station to also keep tabs on the functionality of the local government, and we promise to give you updates on how well these things are being run, especially in Akwa Ibom State. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation this morning. Thank you, Barrister, for your time.
Pleasure is mine.
Well, this is where I and Francis have to draw the curtains until we see you again tomorrow, same time, same station, to talk Nigeria. Bye-bye for now.